Hi and welcome to WoW Flash. This is my weekly news segment where I go through the World of Warcraft or any sort of Warcraft news from the past 7 days. So first up, there are some changes to the EU forums, specifically places for actual proper feedback. One thing that I've certainly complained about, and indeed a lot of players from the EU have complained about, is the fact that all the real discussion goes on North American forums because although we have forums in the EU, they are not really engaged with by Blizzard as a company in terms of actual developers. Now, of course, we don't expect developers to be responding constantly on those forums, but when they do respond, it's always on the North American ones, and of course those are the ones where you're going to obviously get the most constructive debates. So what they've said is they're actually going to put a couple of these on the EU forums, and they're going to make an effort to actually respond to them and to get involved with them. So a few tweets that came out from Josh Allen, of course, one of the community managers, is one of their aims now is going to be to keep PTR patch notes updated. A lot of people will sort of be asking where the patch notes, they sort of come out in bits and pieces, and you need really sites that track things like, MMO Champion is a really good one for that, or Wowhead. Whereas they say they're going to make more of an effort to make sure that people have a central area where they can go for the most up-to-date information on PTRs. Especially, I suppose it makes sense because they've said one of their main things with BlizzCon is they always want the PTR to be active. Like, as soon as something new comes out, they want the PTR for the next bit of content to be coming out quite soon after it. They also said they're going to carry on keeping us up to date with what they're working on as well. They want to communicate as much as possible on the PTR forums, now including the EU. Try not to regret the staggering amount of work I've just signed up to. Yes, hilarious. I think we will appreciate. Obviously, if we get not just more communication, but I think better quality communication, I think we will all appreciate the extra work that will have gone into that. Now, so I've talked about the PTR then. I mean, that was the thing. In the week where Nighthold has released the new raid and Blizzard gave us a new meme, 7.2 PTR has gone up as well. I just downloaded that today. I tried to go on it. There were no servers available, but that's presumably coming up this weekend. Might actually be already up. I haven't actually tried it this minute, but I did try it a little bit ago and it wasn't. But, it's coming on now. Where they've said we're not going to be able to try the raid yet, like Tomb of Sargeras, but some Broken Shore stuff is available, so we can go on there. There are other new features as well. Now, one of the things is sort of transmog sets. There are a few. I'm not obviously going to go through all the features of 7.2. I mean, some of them came up in BlizzCon, and I've already gone through those. And it makes more sense to do a fuller breakdown of all the stuff in 7.2. I think at a more advanced stage, because some of the features here might not make it to 7.2. They either might not be ready, or it might turn out that the players don't actually think they're a great idea, so they pull them. So I think it's just better to focus on the ones that sort of catch my eye. So transmog systems, this is sort of for filtering. They said they've set up an update to the transmog system that tracks the progress and collection of raid and PvP item sets. So for people who specifically want to collect those. So they're actively looking for feedback on that. Sounds like a perfectly good idea to me. Anything that any sort of categories that people want to actively seek out as collections, making it easier to track that in game. Absolutely brilliant. One perennial issue that's been the case for a couple of expansions now, tab targeting improvements. So they've said we're hard at work making some improvements to this feature and have put a few updates in this build that should make tab targeting feel more natural. So again, if you want to go on to PTR, if that's been a particular gripe of yours, when the PTR opens, get on the PTR, copy character. I will actually just say, if there's anything, even like with the PTR, one feature of the PTR was, at a certain point in the last PTR for 7.1.5, you weren't allowed to copy a character anymore. And stuff came out of it and people wanted to test it and weren't able to put their character on. So what I would say is copy a character onto the PTR, regardless of anything that's on there now is what you want to test. If there's something that you might want to test in the future, you might end up at a point where they're not allowing copy character anymore. And it wasn't like that they disabled it just a few days before stopping the PTR. It was weeks before, like a good month before, I think. So it's always a good idea to do that. But certainly, if the tab targeting was a bit of a feature that you're thinking it's not working as it should, and it hasn't been, that's a fact, then get on the PTR, try it out yourself, and then post feedback to Blizzard, because they are looking for that. There are some updated visual effects for Hunters, Death Knights and Balance Druids, they've said. Still very much a work in progress, but making a few improvements to the look and feel of these classes. Again, they want feedback there. I suppose they want feedback on everything. They're also going to make some changes to the Obliterum Forge. Now, some of the features to do with professions are actually quite interesting. I want to go through those as well. But just on the Obliterum Forge, first of all, at the moment, there's not a lot of people accessing it because of the questline. It was reasonably expensive to do when Legion launched, because the actual questline itself is straightforward, but you needed one of each of the types of craftable braces, I think it was, which at the time were quite expensive. They've still got a cost attached to them now, and it's probably putting people off. So there's not going to be a questline to access the Obliterum Forge from 7.2. There still is at the moment, but from 7.2 there's not going to be. And they're going to give it some interactivity with PvP gear to allow people who get multiple... I mean, I'll read it out exactly what they say, because I don't usually do PvP stuff. I was made to do PvP this week. Yeah, just for the sake of getting a few more essences, which in the end I needed, doing sort of rated battlegrounds, random battlegrounds. I don't know. I don't care. Battlegrounds. And so that I could upgrade a legendary. I've now been able to upgrade one legendary as a result of it. But, yeah, I don't... So what they've said is... So we're making... changes to PvP gearing through the Obliterum Forge. The intent of this system is to allow players who have received multiple pieces of unwanted gear to exchange them for a piece of their choosing. It's not yet ready for testing, so it's not on the PTR now, but it is coming. Again, anything that sort of allows you to, I suppose, exchange. If you keep getting, like, I suppose, pieces of gear for the same slot, it's like, no, that's not right, that's not right, it's not right. You know, allowing you to sort of, I don't know, destroy it and get a new piece, or however that's going to interact with the Obliterum Forge. Can't be a bad thing. Now, another thing that might actually be quite useful, this is quite timely, because I remember the Kirin Tor Emissary cache this week. Usual thing, you go to the... When it's the Kirin Tor, you get, you know, you get your cache, and you get your artifact power thing, and that's fine. But they give you another thing. They get you to choose a token for which you can get reputation. Really useful at the start, but when you're exalted with everything, it's like... And it's not like the ones you can get from your order hall. The ones you can get through missions on your order hall are account bound, so you can send them to an alt or something. You can't do that with the Kirin Tor reward ones. Which is so annoying. Now, we might not need to in 7.2, because what it says here is reputation earned beyond exalted will now contribute towards earning additional rewards from Broken Isles faction emissaries. So we might, you know, I don't know whether that means we'll get something else instead, or is it like, I don't know, is it like in TBC with the ethereals where you got like your gem packets or something? Did they send you in something in the post? I don't know. That sounds interesting though. But, you know, the fact that it's not going to waste sounds pretty good to me. Now on to these professions. So, I've already said about the Obliterum Forge not requiring a quest line. I think that would be useful for some players. But the crafted endgame gear, rather than being 815 item level, it'll be 835. They're bunging everything up, basically. They have said they always want content to be relevant through the expansion. And as you get through an expansion, average item level goes up, obviously. The starting, like, heroic dungeons and crafted gear are just, like, the crap. There's no point in them anymore. So they're sort of trying to make them a little bit more relevant. Now it says all existing items between 815 and 830 will retain their existing item level. They won't suddenly go up, but the first application of Obliterum will bring them up to 840. So one out of however many Obliterum will be 840. The cap is going up to 875, so you'll be able to use Obliterum to take crafted gear up to 875 when 7.2 comes out. In terms of world quests, it says some world quests that related to professions now reward 1 skill point in their associated profession. For archaeology, I've not really been into archaeology. They say I've never been into archaeology, let's be honest. But you can now get artifact power from archaeology. So it looks like in 7.2 I'm going to be quite into my archaeology. New... oh, Blizzard. New elite dig sites have been discovered. All enemies summoned by archaeology can now be killed by multiple nearby players. I don't even know what that means because I don't care about archaeology. I've not been doing it. But the cooking, Naomi, getting even better. He's already improved a bit. He has got a lot better. It's been noticeable since 7.1.5. I don't know if people will notice as well. He's coughing up a few more recipes than he did. That's all to the better. So Nomi now provides prepared ingredients as part of his work orders, which can be combined to create up to 10 servings of a random recipe known by the player. I suppose that the moral of this story is don't learn any crap recipes. Make sure they're all fairly useful. But, you know, again, sounds better. At least you're getting more return when you don't get a recipe. Obviously, you don't expect to get a recipe all the time. And the more recipes you get, the less likely you are to get new ones anyway, because you've got more of them. But, yeah, the fact that you'd actually be able to get sort of actual food out of it. And it might work out reasonably efficient way to do it as well. As I say, unless he turns out a load of crap for you. Some basic food that just gives you health back and nothing, no special features. But there isn't much of that, I don't think, in Legion. Anyway. And then the other thing, of course, is flying will return in 7.2. Now, really important that they've said here is that there's no raid or dungeon content required. It's just outdoor world gameplay. Don't know any more details at the moment. So when I go onto PTR, maybe I'll be able to find that out. And the other thing is this is content now. So we'll sort of move away from 7.2 stuff to right now. So what they said is with Nighthold opening now, at least on normal and heroic, next week, of course, first wing of LFR opens and Mythic opens. And in terms of LFR, it's like the first wing opens next week, and then every 2 weeks a new wing opens. So the last, Gul'dan is basically March. But the maximum item level that you can Warforge or Titanforge up to now is 925. So those dungeon trinkets, that if you're still after them, you can now get them to proc up to 925 if you're really lucky. And for doing your Mythic plus dungeon, your weekly cash. So what's previously been the case is if you do up to a plus 12, you can get up to, 885 item level, something like that. I think that's how it works out. You can now do up to plus 15 and get some extra benefit. So that means if you do a plus 15 in a week, your weekly cash the following week will give you a guaranteed 900 item level item, which again could potentially proc up to 925 item level. And the last thing that they sort of confirmed here is that the drop rate of curious coins has indeed been increased for 7.1.5 for anyone who cares about that. And I think I should probably just finish off by saying that another little piece of news that wasn't mentioned here, but someone in my guild discovered, obviously with the quest line for picking up essences for upgrading your legendaries, it can be really annoying if you've got 50 and then you carry on killing bosses because you're getting them in like normal or something like that in the raid. If you get above 50, because someone in our raid did this apparently in our guild, and you turn the quest in, they'll take all of them off you. It's not like, so if you've got 53, it's not like they go, oh, 50, you've 50 essences, brilliant, here's your item to upgrade your legendary. Pick up the next quest. Oh, you've already got 3 of them out of the 50. No, you've got 0. So you have to, it only counts when you pick up the quest again. So it might be an idea if you get your 50 mid-raid to ask to be able to go turn it in, get the thing and start, because you're limited in how many you can get each week. I mean, you've got access to much more, of course, if you do all the PvP stuff, but otherwise you've just got your emissary caches, raids, and there's, you can only get them off each boss once. It doesn't matter how many modes. So I've done 8 of them on heroic, and then I went and did a full clear on normal last night, but the only 2 I got essences off were the last 2 that I hadn't done on heroic. Didn't get any from the normal ones because, you don't benefit from doing it on multiple modes. Maximum of 1 boss on whatever mode. So there's the Nighthold raid bosses, and where else do you get from your Mythic cash? Well, that's once a week, and that's it. And weekly PvP. Don't like PvP, not doing that. So yeah, don't waste them basically. And I think that's it. Just a reminder that the live Retribution Q&A is on tomorrow. That's Saturday, the 21st of January. I'm feeling a lot better now. I've been quite ill this week. Hopefully I'll be even better tomorrow. I'm going to have another chicken curry tonight, I think. And then something extremely spicy before tomorrow to clear the old throat up. and then I should be good to go. That's going to be 7 p.m. UK time, as usually I do on these Saturdays. It's going to be on my Twitch thing. Details are somewhere. Twitch.tv/6Thete, and I'll see you then.